got two-time guest now, Mr. Joseph O'Brien. Joseph, thanks so much, man, for taking the time and chatting with me.
Oh, my word. Always a pleasure. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, so back to January, Rock the Universe, we met up, and you and my son got to hang out for a little bit, and you and I as well. But man, riding that many rides in that short of a time period made my stomach upset. And I know I sound like an old man, but especially when I rode the Velocicoaster ride, I was terrified. And I told my wife I will never ride that again because I didn't feel like dying.
For me, that's a once a year thing, riding that roller coaster for sure.
Yeah, that was it was pretty terrifying. But the other rides are not bad. You know, I enjoy the Mummy, all the Harry Potter rides. And so,
telling your wife something about the Velocicoaster?
Do what?
I thought I heard you say something about like you were telling your wife something about the Velocicoaster.
Yeah, that I'll never ride it again. So yeah, it was terrifying. So
it was terrifying too. Plus, we had that tour guide that it was like you didn't get a break. Like sometimes you get to like wait in line and like the anticipation of the journey, but like we skipped everything. So it was just like coaster after coaster for about an hour and a half straight.
And see, that's what I was telling my wife is like if I had time in between to chill, but we didn't. So it was like, yeah, it was a lot.
It was a lot. Yeah, no, that Velocicoaster was way more intense. It's probably the most intense roller coaster I've ever ridden, but I loved the motorcycle. That was so fun.
Yeah, it was real cool. So you just got off of Winter Jam just like a month ago. Tell us about that.
It was a really cool experience. I mean, I dreamed of going to Winter Jam, growing up because my dad was on it. And so I always thought maybe one day I'd be able to get on stage to some capacity. And I was just really honored, humbled that the Winter Jam team had me out there just to like kind of help host a bit, but really just to like, to have a little shot of sharing some songs and stuff. And so it was a lot. I mean, it was the most intense tour I've, speaking of intensity, like the Velocicoaster, I guess it's like the Velocicoaster of tours. It really was, it's just like, back to back, we would leave on Wednesdays and then we wouldn't get back until Sunday. So really just Monday and Tuesday off. And then we were just like always kind of, on the go and, playing arena. It just all blended together. By the time we hit like day 15, I was like, I couldn't tell you where it had been, what the venue, like if someone told me the venue name, I'm like, I don't remember where that was, So it's definitely pretty gruesome, but I loved every second of it. It was a good time.
Yeah. Well, what I like about Winter Jam too is it's always like a plethora of different types of musics. Like it's not just the mainstream. I mean, they had Seventh Day Slumber, and then they had New Song, and then they had You, and then Crowder, and it's just, and then sometimes they have. Did they have a rap artist this year? I don't think they did.
Yeah,
but,
Lecrae.
That's right. Yeah. So you throw all that together, and it's like this. I don't even know what to call it. Like a big mixed pot of all kinds of music, and so that's cool about Winter Jam, and I respect that. So.
Yeah, no, I mean, in the best way possible. It's kind of like, it feels like a circus a little bit just because of the amount of stage hands that are like switching, sets, quote unquote, or stage designs, like every act. And it really keeps you on your toes, and everyone knows that they have to fit a good amount of songs in a short amount of time. So really it's just very high energy and there's not a lot of like breaks. And the night went by so quick, like, for being, I think 4 hours long or 3 hours or however long it was. It's like, it feels like it just really goes by.
Yeah. Well, and the crew too. I mean, it's like, man, the amount of time they spend taking it down and putting it up every single day. It's hats off to them for sure.
No, yeah. Like it doesn't make any sense, honestly. Like what they do, I couldn't even imagine. Cause I mean, they're working pretty much at the start of every day at like, 8 a.m., 9 a.m., setting up everything. And then they're the last to leave the venue. So like, I look at my job and I'm like, oh, I'm such a spoiled brat. Like I literally just like go on stage, play in front of a bunch of people. And then these people who actually make the tour happen, like go so unnoticed, but like, I mean, the tour wouldn't exist without them doing their thing, So so grateful. And they were also kind too. Like they didn't have bad attitudes at all. They were just all along there for the ride. So
yeah. Well, since we've talked, you've come out with a few new songs, and so that's what we're here to talk about today. Cool. We love both of them. Something Different, and then your collab with Coby on Like That You Love Me. Why don't you tell our viewers and listeners about these two songs?
Yeah, so Something Different is a song that I wrote with two good friends, Benji Cowart and Jordan Malowski. And, um, we'd had this song sitting in the can for about 8 months. And, I would keep getting text messages from them or their publisher. They're like, hey, like, this song, cool. Like, you should put it out. And I was like, I don't know. I was kind of going through an identity crisis for a while, just about what I wanted to do as an artist and where I was going. And so I just didn't release music, for a really long time, since April of last year. And I was trying to figure out what the next step was going to be, and something different. It kind of actually felt like the right way to come back into the music scene a little bit, just because it feels like this is a little bit of a new era for me as far as where I'm going and what type of songs are going to be coming out. And so though it was kind of more like that Christian contemporary sound, it to me was signaling, it was like, hey, I want to be a different artist. I want to be someone that shines the light of Christ, but does it in a fresh and unique kind of way. And I feel like I Like That You Love Me was the second song after that was even more of a reflection of where I'm going as an artist, which is just writing songs from a Christian perspective, but not necessarily has to be explicitly Christian. And I love writing songs that are based around scripture, but I also love to write songs that feel just very relatable, and they're songs about life. But we do that from a biblical perspective because that's what sets us apart from the world. So, that was kind of the two singles that have come out that I'm both very excited about how different they are, but how aligned with my vision.
Yeah. Are you, is there plans of an album coming soon, or what's that look like?
No, it feels like no one my age really makes an album anymore. I mean, like, I could. I mean, I know it's been thrown around as something that like a compilation might, be coming in the future. Honestly, I need to be getting out just a lot more music in order for an album to be, I think, made possible. But yeah, it's just I'm maybe call me a little selfish, but I always want a song to have a little bit of like love, and life to it. And sure. I think on an album, there's so many times where a song that maybe you're passionate about just kind of gets lost in the mix, because I think my generation especially is so ADHD, which is TikTok. It's like if they don't like something, just scroll or whatever. And so, I mean, like I listened to Benson Boone's record the other day. He's a huge artist. But his album was like 17 songs or 16. I think I got to like 12 and I was like, all right, I'm good. Like, like I think it's like, wow, these are a lot to get through, because we'll try to listen in one go, find the songs that we like. So, I mean, again, I think some people would listen to it, but most people, like my favorite artists like Lauv, Lauv back in the day, he would just release singles, and that became the new format of doing stuff. So maybe an album would happen someday. I'm not sure, but I'm kind of content just releasing singles as of now, but it might happen. Maybe like I've always thought about doing themed EPs, like, like I love acoustic, like indie music. And it's like, I wouldn't just do a single of that because it's not really like consistent with all the pop stuff I'm doing right now. So maybe I would just do like a little 5-song EP about like, hey, here's like an acoustic cool thing that I wanted to do for a while. And I could see that being a possibility.
It's April 17th. And so I went to Hobby Lobby a couple of days ago, and they already had their fall stuff out, believe it or not.
Oh, wow.
So Christmas, man, I'm like, Joseph, if you start now, you could have some Christmas stuff releasing around November. I'm just saying. That's right.
I always miss the Christmas deadline because I want to be in the Christmas spirit so bad.
Yeah,
so like,
put up a tree.
But then, we have to turn in all of the Christmas stuff by like August or something like that.
Yeah.
I can't. It's in July. It's so hot outside. I'm like, the last thing I want to do is write a Christmas song. But some people are able to do it.
Yeah.
It's so difficult for me. I got to start feeling that like winter chill.
Yeah, they said Bing Crosby, when he did White Christmas, it was in the middle of the summer when he recorded that. And so I'm like,
it has to be, because all of the marketing prep that probably goes into it, which I'm sure back then was different, but like they have in order to get the record done in time and put in the right avenues, it kind of makes sense.
Yeah. So speaking of favorite artists, we had talked when we had last spoken with you. You said that your favorite artist at the time was Coldplay, and so. We're going to play a little game, and I'm going to play.
Come on, a little game. I like it. I love games.
We're going to play a little snippet of a song, and you just tell me what Coldplay song it is.
What song it is? All right. Hopefully, not only will I be able to tell you what song. was gonna say that's Viva La Vida, and that's off of the Viva La Vida record. So
There you go.
I offered.
There you go. Here's another one.
Okay, dang. Okay, so this is definitely that has to be off of either the what's it called? The Head Full of or Rush of Blood to the Head or the Parachutes record. But probably
you're right the first time.
But I don't
What's
know
the name
what
of the song?
song it is. Because as big as of a Coldplay fan, I should be able to have this. I know a lot of their hits, but some of their like sleepers, like I wouldn't know what's that one. I'm so sorry.
That is the title track to the album. Rush of Blood to the Head.
That's what I was going to say. It was Rush of Blood to the Head. Yeah.
Get this one.
Okay.
Here it goes.
That's Yellow.
What'd you say?
I said The Scientist, Rush of Blood to the Head.
All right. Man, you're doing good. Here we go.
That's definitely Clocks, which I think is also Rush of Blood to the Head, right?
I think so, yeah.
I think
that album, man, they had a lot of hits on that one. All right, last one, Joseph.
Last one? All right, it's got to be something off of their new record. That's what I'm thinking. Yeah. Full of Stars off of Ghost
Yeah,
Stories.
There you go.
That is a fun fact. That's my favorite record of Coldplay, which to a lot of people is very surprising because they're like, what? Like, not Milo Zotto, not Rush of Blood to the Head. And I think it's because Ghost Stories was the first record that I had ever listened to by Coldplay when it came out. Like, there was no other record that I realized they had released anything because I was young. Also, I didn't listen to any Christian music. I listened to only Christian music growing up.
Yeah.
And allow myself to listen to secular music. But I think I just turned like 17 or 18 at the time. And I was like, you know what? I think as long as it's clean, I'll allow myself to listen to some secular music. And so I remember they had teased, like, they had just released Magic, Sky Full of Stars, and I was like ready for the album because I was such a big Coldplay fan just from the songs I had heard in the past, like just kind of, on the radio or whatever. And I just loved that record, and it was such a sentimental record, and I loved the chill kind of nature of it. Anyway, I need to stop.
Have you ever seen them live before, or?
I haven't, and it's honestly a crime that I haven't because I need to. Everyone talks about how it's one of their favorite tours they've ever seen, and it's killing me that I didn't see them on their last tour, the Universe tour. But hopefully, if they come back to the States, I'll see them for their farewell tour if they do that.
Yeah. Well, the other day on your Instagram, I think it might have been in your TikTok, maybe both. I don't know. But you did a thing called writing songs based off states.
Yeah.
So not mean to throw you under the bus or anything, but what do you got on Kentucky, since that's our home state?
So, every video is random. Like, I think a lot of people are in the comments are like, like, I can't wait for him to do this. It's like, I don't know when, because I have that bowl and I just draw one, so... Yeah. I'm in the process of making the next one about Missouri. So
okay.
That'll be the second video, but the third and the fourth, like, I haven't drawn them yet. So like as soon as I draw them in front of the camera, it's like, all right, it's go time. I got to figure this out and stuff. It's hard to really portray that in a video that it takes a really long time to like actually make the video and then condense it down to less than 90 seconds. So, Kentucky, I would love to draw Kentucky, maybe, though.
Yeah, hopefully, I mean, when you get like New Hampshire stuff, it's going to be a struggle because I don't know.
I'm going to have to consult like ChatGPT or something to be like, what are these states like? What do they have? Because that was what I had to do with or Missouri. I was like, maybe I'll do a famous city in Missouri. And I was like, St. Louis, like that's a huge city.
Branson.
I was like, let me write a song called St. Louis. And there was so much that I was able to use,
Yeah. Wow. Well, Joseph, what else is next for you this year, and how can our listeners keep up with you?
What's up with me next year or this next year? Yeah, I think I'm just I've got a tour coming up in June. I've got songs that I'm working on right now that we'll see how soon we can get them released, and I'm always trying to work on content. I think that's kind of the thing that people can expect from me in the next couple months. Winter Jam was hard for me to work on pretty much anything to release digitally and socially. But I think I'll be working hopefully on just a lot of content that keeps people, entertained I'm gonna be the
Yeah.
entertainer for the next 3 months. That's
Yeah.
the plan.
Well, your movie reviews too, I like those as well.
Oh, thank
So
you. Yeah, I try to keep people on their toes, with
yeah.
the reviews.
What's the biggest best movie you've seen so far this year?
This year, oh, easy. Dune Part 2. Dune Part 2. I could not I could sing the praises of that movie for so many years. It's one of my top 10 favorite movies of all time.
Yeah.
I never had a cinema experience like that movie. I saw it in the Dolby Cinema theaters twice.
Okay.
Seen it a third time, but honestly, like the second time, it was just as good as the first. That's how blown away I was by the visuals, by the story, by the score. Just objectively a good piece of cinema. Whether you like it or not, it was to me perfect. I loved it.
My kids, and I like it too because I also love the original, but the new Wonka movie is pretty good too.
Oh
And
yeah, the new Wonka movie
Levi,
was
which
so
you've
good.
met, he said, "Man, he looks like Joseph O'Brien, the guy that plays Wonka." I said,
Yeah,
"Well,
back
yeah,
when
he's
I
got
was
the
sporting my long, kind of like flowy
yeah,
locks. Yeah, I can see that.
yeah, yeah." There's some pretty good movies coming out this year, and be exciting to see some of them. So
I don't know if any of them going to be Dune 2, but I'm looking forward to it. We'll see.
yeah. Well, to wrap up, I'd like to see if you'd be willing to share something that God's been doing in your life recently that would help build our viewers and listeners' faith.
Yeah. That's always the most important question. I think I feel like what God's been working on me recently, I think even maybe last time I talked about patience and just how, there's I think as a musician you can get a little antsy because you're just wondering what God's doing, what his plan is for you and how you're going to be able to make a living doing what you are doing. But also being less concerned with what I mean, it's good to be concerned, I guess, what other people think about you to some degree, because you never want to shut yourself out and seclude yourself from other people's counsel. But being less concerned with what humanity wants you to be and views you as, and being more concerned with what God wants for you and whether you're living in His will and not the will of other people that want you to follow a particular system. So I've just been learning to kind of let go of some, people pleasing inclinations and live to please God, and that it's to be my, my ultimate ultimate call, ultimate calling. And so I would just encourage anyone who feels like they're always being pushed around, that people are like, yeah, this is what you need to be, this is what you need to be successful, this is what you have to do. It's like, ultimately you do your best to the glory of God, and God has a plan, and sometimes it doesn't look like what you want it to sometimes, but his plan is ultimately better. So they're kind of roadmap people try to come up for you in your life.
Yeah. That's good. Well, Joseph, thanks, man, for chatting with me. Something different, and Like That You Love Me are your two new singles. Those are out now. Stream those. And man, I'm telling you, you should do a couple songs with your dad. Just saying.
Hey, you never know. We might keep you. Yeah, we might do it. We might do a little surprise action.